All right, we are live. Welcome, Raul Luna here, your host and friend, launching it from Modesto, California. Welcome to the weekly real estate talk show. So, I'm gonna be sharing some concepts, ladies and gentlemen. Real estate concepts that has totally helped me throughout my real estate investing career, and not only just in real estate in general, life, businesses, relationships, you name it, family. And I think that we need to embrace what it's been already working. And I was, as I was writing it, it was interesting to see what is the biggest shifts, the biggest concepts that I have applied that has totally just completely done an 180-degree shift that has helped me to accelerate the process. And that's what we're going to be covering here today. All right. It's going to be fast. So if you got questions, make sure that you got somewhere to take notes. Make sure that you're in a space where you're not getting distracted or interrupted. Um, and the very first thing that I want to cover with you today is very plain and simple. The number one thing that happened for me, it was right around about almost 10 years ago. And it was a complete mental interruption shift. And what I mean by that, I was in a mission. I was in purpose, of really doing things, any action that I would take, how to be done with a purpose in mind, how to be done with changing my belief, changing my way of thinking, changing my paradigms of how is it that I was investing before. Because before everything was limited. There was always money shortage. There was always deal shortage. There was always, shortage of everything. It almost seemed like I was living a very, a scarcity way of living until about 10 years ago when I started implementing these concepts that I'm going to be, sharing with you guys today. So write this down, all right? Because this is super critical. You do not become rich, you do not become rich with a transaction, but you do become rich with relationships. You do not become rich with a transaction, but you can become rich with relationships. And you guys know this, that this business, like many other businesses, like most businesses, it's a relationship driven. And I'll give you examples how that is possible on many different angles. Give you an example that I'm living right now lately. As a matter of fact, and I'm going to show you, listen to this. We just established 3 different companies. If you see them right there, the maroon binders. Well, guess what? Those are 3 brand new companies that I just established today. Today was the official day for basically for all 3. And the reason why I wanted to share it is because understand this. One of these companies, it's for a small subdivision that we're doing in Oakland, California. Now, guess what? How we ended up putting that together, there is 3 partners there. And the beauty of it is today we get to invest in real estate in such a creative way that you may think that, if you're new, you may think that it's impossible. Or if you're already, well versed into the real estate field, you may think how can that be possible if it is possible, because keep in mind I'm especially on the small subdivision, we're subdividing a lot in a really, I would say, really not like the super bad area of Oakland, but not the super great area of Oakland. But if I was to give it from a scale to 1 to 10, I'm talking about maybe a 6 or a 7 in area wise, maybe pushing it a little bit more. But all of this gets done through relationships. What I mean by that, this deal, if I was to put 100% my own money, and if I was to do it just by myself, I would not have done it. And I'm being straight, flat forward with you. But because of the relationships that we've built throughout the years, this deal happened. Why? Because it was brought to me by one of my friends that has become a friend. But we've actually strengthened that relationship. He brought the deal and said, hey, Raul, I got this land. And this land, originally, we were supposed to buy it outright. And I did my numbers, and the numbers didn't pan out if we had to bring, loans from all over the different place. And what I told him, I said, listen, do you think the sellers will be willing to seller finance? And he went back and asked, and, in a nutshell, the sellers were willing to seller finance, were willing to play ball, were willing to do creative stuff. And because of that, we were able to make the deal, to make sense. And guess what I did? I told him, listen, what I can do is I can talk to my my architect that I worked basically for quite some time now. And it was interesting because my architect, I met him through a referral that I got on another property that I bought about a year or some change ago, or something like that, or maybe even more. But interesting enough, we've done so much business together. We've gotten to know each other greatly. I've referred him so much business as well, that basically this deal, when I proposed it to him and I said, listen, this is what we can do. This is the vision. Okay, so I told him the vision. I told him what we can sell him for, and I told him what we were looking for. I said, are you wanting to partner? He's an architect, an engineer, as well as an investor, all in one. And he also owns a construction company. And when I showed him the deal, I said, listen, if we have to get hard money loans, and we got to get private money loans, the deal doesn't seem that, it's just not going to work, because there's a lot of things that are uncertain when when we're doing land development. Well, bottom line, what I'm sharing is this, and this is why it's important what I just told you, that you don't get rich off of one transaction, but you do get wealthy and rich with relationships. Yes, because we get to know each other, because we get to help each other, but because when you partner up, and you're partnering up to strengthen each other with different, with different strengths. For instance, when I brought my architect and I proposed it to him, it's because I want him to understand that, hey, listen, you got the knowledge on the architecture aspect and the engineering aspect. We got the knowledge on what we believe that this one subdivided land is going to sell for, and it's a small one. It's only a 10 unit. It's a 10 home subdivision in Oakland, California, which he liked the deal. He liked obviously the numbers, and we decided that we were going to join in all three together. Okay, all three together. We were going to put in, my friend who brought the deal, who had the connection directly with the seller, my architect. I brought my architect engineer, who's putting all of his expertise, and he's bringing 100% all the money to make the deal happen. And then I'm being more of the, the organizer, the obviously vision setter, and making sure that we put all the teams together and moving forward on it. Now, that's just one example. That relationships, where a transaction is not going to make you rich, but relationships will. So I hope that that's one of the concepts, ladies and gentlemen, that I apply, and that I continue to apply ever since almost 10 years ago, and it has served dramatically well. Now, what value is it that we're bringing to the table? You got to be clear. Is it money? Is it knowledge? Is it experience? Is it a combination? Is it the thing that you know how to do certain things extremely well? What is it that you're bringing? And, one of the things that I learned, it was, that I had to be open to relationships, because I was a very secluded guy. I was a very, I wasn't an ongoing guy until I learned that, I needed relationships in my life. Otherwise, things were not going to move as fast as I want them to do. So that's one concept, okay? Concept number one is build relationships. You're not going to get rich off of one transaction, but you do get rich off of relationship, not because you're taking away from them. Don't be a taker. Okay. Concept number 2 is be a giver. Be a giver. The universe, the universe will not allow for you to just give without, the universe compensating you back and also giving you back. All right. So it's very important to understand that. That's concept number 2, because before, if I would enter into a relationship, let me tell you one thing. Before, I was like, what can I get out of that relationship? And it's interesting. Let me tell you why. Because when you go with that mindset, it's completely the wrong type of mindset. Today is, what is it that I can add into that relationship to make it better? When I brought this deal to my architect, I told him, I said, listen, this is the worst case scenario, the best case scenario. This is where we believe it's going to land. But, since the seller is seller financing it, and we're only making one payment a year, one payment every December is the only time that we're going to make a payment. I'm really depending on the execution that you can make and how fast you can execute this. He says, Raul, I can do this in about 12 months to 18 months, and we can get it all pretty much squared away. Because the seller was willing to seller finance at a really great terms, at a very good numbers, guess what? The deal started to make sense. Because we partner up with the pieces came together, but it came together because we started to put the different pieces, to fit where they should go. And guess what? Lo and behold, the deal now is a good looking, profitable, deal that we're going to be able to obviously get to experience. But that happened because of relationships. He had not entrusted, with what we can do, and I had not entrusted him of his abilities if we had not built that relationship, and relationship doesn't get built overnight, right? So very important to understand that. And concept number 2, be a giver. I gave my architect, before we even partner up, I gave him a business. I referred him. I gave him all of my business in the Bay Area. He actually gets it. So he knows that, it's not just, I guess, lip service. It's really the real thing. And that's important for you to, understand that, that you need to do. Concept number 2, I told you to be a giver, not just a taker. When you are a giver, the universe corresponds back to you, and you will start getting back on that. Concept number 3, in a slowing market, okay, and this I learned it, throughout my experiences of the ups and downs and things of that. In a slowing market, make sure that you continue to buy stronger, but buy lower, okay? Buy lower. Another concept number 3, buy lower. Why? Because even today, even until today, it's interesting because we just, we actually are closing this week on a property in San Francisco that ARV, it's about 3.750. And, we put it under contract for 1.8 million, and we sold it right away. In this case, it was assigned to me. I brought in the developer buyer who's taking over the project. And guess what? Even though I know loud and clear that the market is slowing down, it has shown signs of a slowdown, but yet that shouldn't discourage anybody if you're buying correctly. Now, you got to buy correctly with enough wiggle room for you to make mistakes, for you to be able to get surprises. Surprises shouldn't keep you from not making a profit if you're buying right. The fact that the market is slowing down shouldn't keep you from, consistently buying properties, whether you're new experience, you're an agent, or you're just, or you're just, being curious at the moment. One other thing is this, that I will tell you, and it's important to understand this. Don't just be in the benches watching the play. Be the player. Make sure that you're out there being the player, ladies and gentlemen. Make offers. There's that you will see more and more, people that may be getting into trouble that may need us as the investor to rescue them from their mess. It's it's part of life. It's part of what it is. You know, and that's why concept number 3 is, in a slowing market, don't slow, don't become a slower investor. Just make sure that you continue to buy right, and that you buy even at a lower numbers, okay? And then the next concept, which is concept number 4, it's partner to multiply and expand and not to add. Partner to multiply and expand and not to add. I've seen a lot of partnership just being, being done because they want to add, and adding is not going to get you, that far. And what I mean by that, it's 1 + 1 should not be 2. 1 + 1 in a partnership should be 11. Should equal to 11 times the success by partnering up with somebody than if you were doing it by yourself. Am I being clear on that? I think it's really, really important that we understand that when you partner to expansion, when you partner for success, when you partner to multiply, it's clear. It's to multiply. That's why you want to partner, in this case, to give you an example, going back into the land development that we're doing in Oakland, having my friend who brought the deal, who's, very savvy investor, from the architect engineer background, and he's bringing in pretty much, the money, the experience, the, subdivision, dealing with the city and things like that. He knows what we bring to the table. By joining us together, this thing is going to be 11 times better than if one person was to tackle it alone and had to bring everything alone, because what they're going to bring, what one single person would have to bring out of pocket, it was truly freaking out of their, out of the mind. And guess what? We bought this property with just a little bit less than $30,000 of down payment, so he's bringing his services, he's bringing his experience. And see, when we bring everything together, we expand, we multiply, we prepare things for success rather than just doing it all yourself. I've seen people that they're trying to do everything themselves. They try to, buy the property themselves, do the work themselves, clean the property themselves. They want to do everything themselves, and yet they don't know that the reason why they're thinking just on themselves is because they're thinking in a very scarcity way. All right. So, the last one, when you change your thinking, and I shared it at the beginning, when you change your belief about how you should invest in real estate, and you adopt a multi-millionaire, or a hectamillionaire mindset, that's when things are going to start to change on how you invest. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been studying people that are definitely much more successful than me for many, many years, on many different aspects, and when I watch them, I notice various type of things, and the most common things that I notice is that they're purposeful, that they value their time, that they know exactly where they're headed and what is their value on earth, and as I get to study them, I get to model what works and just put it out there and bring it into the real estate field, because a lot of these people are not even in the real estate world, but I get to study them. And guess what? The principles of success, doesn't matter what category of business it is. The principle is a principle. It works pretty much across the board because it's a way of thinking. Okay, so I hope that you got some wisdom and some nuggets of what I share today, because those concepts are the concepts that I started, implementing and adopting ever since almost 10 years ago, and it has served extremely, extremely well. Today, I look for relationships. I look for partnerships. I look to add value. I look to make sure that I will, I love to give a sense of direction to other people that they may not have one. I love interrupting people's mindset and way of thinking, because at the end of the day, we're going to be in this earth. Might as well make something amazing about it so that we can live it in a much better shape than when we actually got in it. All right. So very important. Not everybody thinks the same. That's what makes, life extremely interesting. But you know what? At the end of the day, all I can tell you is if you change your thinking, you will change the results. If you don't change the way you think today, then I can promise you, you will get more of the same. And if more of the same is what you've been aiming and you're happy with, then don't change it. Don't change a whole lot. Don't change anything. You've actually gotten what you were striving for. But I'm pretty sure that's not your case. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here watching, obviously, today's talk show. But anyhow, if there's any questions, I will be more than happy to answer any questions that you guys may have, because I know that, when I open it to questions, usually several questions pop up. So let's get started here. What do you mean by add? Larry, what I mean by that, it's, in math, when you add 1 + 1, it's a 2, So when you partner, you're not partnering just to add people to the partnership or for the end result to be an addition result. 1 + 1 = 2. That's an addition result. But 1 + 1 = 11. That's an expansion result. Does it make sense? So that's what I mean by, the add, not partnering to add. I've seen people when they partner, they're just partnering to make an addition, instead of a multiplication. And I used to do that, maybe 15 or many more years ago. And I realized that, it wasn't getting any better. But the reason why was because I was thinking also in such a way. Okay. So I hopefully makes sense to you. But 1 + 1, it's in the sense of addition, math, it's a 2. But 1 + 1, if you put them together, it's an 11. It's the number 11. It's really just a way of saying, partner up to make things better for everybody. You don't want to partner up just to end up with the same, result. How do I find someone to mastermind about some of the deals that I've been working on? Great question. Best way is just by asking. Go out there and ask. I remember when we first established our mastermind that we do every Saturday morning. We came. I went up to Mr. Joe and I told him, hey, listen, how about if we mastermind? Now, you want to mastermind with someone that is playing at a bigger scale than you. At least that's my advice. Go out to them and let them know. Hey, listen, I from time to time I come across deals, and just let them know. I would like to add value and see how we can add value to each other. That's the best way I established it, was exactly that same way. I reached out. I told Mr. Joe, I said, listen, I want to create a relationship. I want to add value to you. Whatever I can do, I'm here to help you. I'm here to add value, and let's see how we can add value to each other. Let's mastermind. Let's give it a shot. Let's share 3 things. Let's make it obviously quick, and let's see how we can help each other. That's how it all started. And guess what? We've been several years now into the making, and it's probably one of the best sessions that I get to experience every single week, because we get to see the victories, the struggles, and the commitments of every one of us every single week. I have ad partner, but it has not worked with others. They want the profits, but don't want the work. How do I find the right partners? Ms. Larry, once again, I think, you'll find a lot of people with a scarcity mindset out there. And the best way I find my partners is what I use, the three C's. And I think I've shared it in the past. When I'm interviewing someone to partner up with me, I look into 3 things. Very simple. It's the character, the character, commitment, and capacity. What is the character? Does the person has integrity? The commitment. Is the person committed into the industry that he's in? Is the person committed to himself? Is the person committed to success? And then three, capacity. Is the person has the skills, has the capacity to really get done what I am asking of a partner, or what I believe I need a partner for, or where we can actually. So for instance, I'll give you an example. If you're going to partner with a general contractor, the question is, does the general contractor has the capacity, the bandwidth to take on into more work? Does it have the skills, the ability to, and the experience to really do it, and successfully? So, or if you're going to partner up with another investor to get a deal done, those are critical. Those are really, really critical, ladies and gentlemen. Give you an example. Not too long ago, and I don't know if they're here on the line, but but I got Mr. Jason and Mr. Ted, who Mr. Jason happens to be at one of my classes this year. As a matter of fact, I believe it was this year, and he may well be connected here today. And it was interesting because, and I'm not talking about Mr. Jason Boosie, I'm talking about Mr. Jason Lafley, that he went to one of my courses, and I told him, I shared something in there. I said, listen, whatever you're lacking, whatever you feel you're lacking, make sure that you're looking for a partner that will bring that need, but will make you guys better. Like literally will just literally make you guys better. And the three things that I look into a partnership is, like I said, the character, the commitment, and capacity. And it was interesting because he went out of that event, did what he heard or what struck him the most. And then later on, he told me on one of the meetups, he says, hey, Raul, you know what, man, Ted is now my partner. He's bringing the funds for the direct mail, blah, blah, blah. And guess what? We've done 2 deals, together. And I can guarantee you they're probably also seeing the same thing, in my end. Is he committed? Is Raul committed? Does Raul has the capacity? Does Raul has the character? Does Raul has the integrity to really fulfill what he promised that he was going to fulfill? You need to do that to others, and others will do that to you. So the best way that I found partners is I must become who I want to attract and then put the action. I must become who I want to attract and then put the action. Example, if I'm a lazy person, I'm going to attract lazy people. So, if I take the action. If I am a person with high character, high integrity, high commitment, high capacity, I am going to attract that type of person if I put the action, if I'm persistent. Now, are you going to attract other partners that you should not have attracted? Yes, it's going to happen. In the journey of experience, in the journey as you start getting well-rounded, there's going to be mistakes. Don't be afraid of those mistakes. You're going to have to go through the bad ones in order to get to the good ones, And today, Mr. Jason, Mr. Ted, and I, we feel that we get really well along. We're about to, conclude here our second deal. And guess what? It's a deal that they brought. They would not have mentioned it to me if they didn't feel that there's value that I bring to it. So, in a nutshell, become who you're looking to attract, and then you will have to put the action to get it done. So if you get people that all they want is they want their entire profits, well, the question is this: what is it that you're bringing? What is it that you're bringing? Because, see, it really boils down to this, ladies and gentlemen. In the partnership where we're doing the land development, guess what? I'm taking less. My friend partner is taking less, and the architect is taking the most. Why? Why is he taking more? Because he's the one that's going to be doing all the subdivision, is going to be doing all the drawings and architecture. the engineering, the survey, the soils report. He's the one that's bringing the money. He's the one that's bringing his entire team. So if you're only bringing one thing and you expect to get everything, then you should be paying attention and understand that maybe you're asking too much, and that's why you feel that other people want more. So it's about being real. To me, it's nothing. I'm not getting the most. I actually was okay, for my architect to get majority. Why? Why is it? It's just, honestly, it's only fair since he's bringing the most. Okay. I was the connector. I was the one that's bringing the accounting. I'm going to be in charge of the accounting, of, the connecting people. Okay, I deserve less because I didn't even brought the deal either. Well, I brought the deal to him, but, my friend brought the deal to me. So just understand those things, because, oftentimes we think that just because we bring the deal, we get the most. And this, because who brings the money, who brought the buyer, who brought negotiations, who brought, so just be in total clarity who brought what. Because in the partnerships, if somebody's bringing the most, then I believe that person should be the one that should be getting the most. Now, you may not agree, that in the past I've done mistakes where, I bring the most and then I give out the most. Yes, I have done that mistake, but you know what? Not anymore. Let me tell you why. Because I've learned in life that, when you're barely beginning, when you're first starting, it's okay. You may bring the most, you may bring almost everything to the table, but then that's going to change as you become, more experienced and things get better and you become better at finding deals and things like that. So hopefully, hopefully that helps out. All right. So it says, how do I figure out what I'm lacking? Oh my gosh, so well said. Let's keep it real. Yeah. So how do I figure out, what I'm lacking? The thing is, it's great questions, by the way, Ms. Lurie. The best way to figure out, how I lack something, it's various ways, but I'll give you 2 to 3, and then you can see, ask people that are closest to you, but give them permission to tell you the truth, and don't take it personal. People that can tell you the truth, don't go to people that cannot tell you the truth. The biggest problem is sometimes we want to know what I'm lacking or what the feedback, but we go to the people that love us, and guess what? They're not going to tell us, so be real. Just be real to yourself. Go out there and tell them that. Just say, hey, listen, what do you think I'm lacking in life? But tell me the honest truth, even pay them. Tell them, I'll give you $100 if you give me an honest feedback. Now, if you don't give me the honest feedback, then it's going to defeat, obviously, the purpose of doing so. The second way is take a personality, assessment test. Take a personality assessment test. That'll help you, as well. And at the same time, whenever you're partnering, whenever you're doing a deal, think of what is it that you're focused on. Are you just focused on, what is it that you're truly just focused? If you're just strictly focused on, how much money am I going to make? How much money am I going to make? How much money am I going to make? Then you'll realize really fast that, it's, and I can tell you this to be a true thing, at least for me, is whenever I focus on how much money am I going to make only, then usually the deal, doesn't happen in the same manner that I wanted it, or, it doesn't happen at all, because I'm only focused on that aspect for me and not what I can bring to the table. What is it that I can bring others to the table? So, but the 2 first ones, I think it's the main ones that I suggest you to do it. I've done it in the past, as a matter of fact. I've done that where I ask people, hey, what do you think, what is the 2 things that you see the best thing about me? But what are the 5 things that you truly know that I suck at? And it's amazing, when people tell you, and that's one. And then the other thing is take a life course. I remember about 10 years ago that I took a life course And what I mean by a life course, I'm thinking it's I forget the name, but I can give it to you, Ms. Lurie, if I remember. It's a course that I took where it had to work with me. It was more about working with myself, with my being. And I will never forget. It was a very tough one, though. It was a tough one. And when I mean a tough one, it was a tough one. I had a lady right in front to my face, and she was telling me, yelling at me like crazy. But I decided that I wanted it to grow, and if I wanted to grow, that I was going to take this course. And it's like a life coaching course, but it's a very interactive course. It's not the typical. I think it's a Landmark. I think Landmark has it. They put you to do exercises. I'll tell you this much: if you're going to take things personal, that's not the course for you to be in. I'll tell you straight, flat out. Because I was this close to quitting, because the lady right in front of my face was telling me that, it was telling me every negative thing that she could possibly think about myself. And I was glad. I was glad. Let me tell you why. Because, people that loves us will not tell us the real thing, how the world is seeing us. And we sometimes are blinded to that. When I took that course, it wasn't easy, but yet I started changing the things that I needed to change in order to become, who I was inside of me desiring to become. So, that's important, but keep it real. Just keep it real for yourself, and then do you ask a family member? Most family members don't tell you the truth. I don't. That's why I don't ask family members. I usually ask, friends that I tell them, hey, listen, tell me the sincere truth, or people that, knows me really well, but that are going to tell me. I mean, hey, heck with it. You want me to tell you? I'll tell you. I won't tell you here in front of everybody, but if you want me to tell you, I've told you. I mean, we've had discussions, personally, and I think, it really is what it is. Just keep it real to yourself, because what we're lacking, ladies and gentlemen, if we don't know what we lack, then we don't know how to partner. So if we don't know our weaknesses, we won't know how to find great partners. Because let's just say if you're great at communication, and then you're looking at other people that are great at communication, and maybe you identify with them because you're good at communication, but they're good at communication. You may be needing to partner up with someone that is good at details. Maybe that person can do the accounting, or can do, or maybe that person is extremely great at negotiation. Maybe doesn't know how to communicate verbally, but knows how to communicate in writing. So there's many things you need to know. The best way, another ninja tip that I can provide if you're looking to partner: know your strengths, know your weaknesses. Because if you know your strengths, you know your value. If you know your weaknesses, you know your value, because you know now who is it that I need to, take a look at, or who is it that I need to partner up with, like for instance, my partners, Jason and Mr. Ted, guess what? They're extremely details. They're engineers by trade. And I know that they're extremely detail oriented. They will get a document and dissect it like you won't imagine. That's a cool thing. Why? Because I know that I can give them a document and they're going to go point by point, things of that nature. So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, what's the name of the company? It's Landmark. I think it's just search it on Google, Landmark. I took that course about 10 years ago, and it was a punch in the face course type of thing. So if you don't like to be told the truth, then that's not the place to be at. I would tell you straight, flat out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if there's no more questions, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. We'll connect next week at the same time in the same channel. Congratulations for making it here today. Very, very happy and grateful that you guys made it. And we'll get connected here next week. All right. So get to see you very, very soon. Congratulations. Thank you.